So tonight we are talking about belief, and we're talking about the power of belief. So first of all, welcome. My loyal fan who's live with me, anyone who's watching this live or replay on Facebook, welcome. If we have not met yet, my name is Jennifer Hernandez, and I absolutely love supporting people who are motivated to improve their lives. For those of you who don't know me well in real life, I could tell you about how I became a registered dietitian, a dietetics educator, wife, or mom. I could also tell you about the time that I started a PhD program, got really sick, and dropped out with the worst grades of my life. But instead, I'm going to tell you about how I am currently almost 2 years into a PhD program in curriculum and instruction. I jumped in with both feet, and in fall of 2019, I started doing research on a certain topic, which was how can we get more people to precept dietetic students so we can have more dietetic internship programs and spots? And that research led me to an intersection. And I decided to turn off of that original highway and head in the other direction, which was imposter phenomenon. You see, I struggle with this. The feeling that people will see or think that I don't belong in my PhD program, and even sometimes in my job as an educator. I tell my students that they will work with real dietitians when they get into their supervised practice or their internships, which means that some days I don't feel like I'm a real dietitian. I've seen many of my former students struggling with feelings of inadequacy and negative self-talk. I've also seen successful colleagues who do not know how to value their services because even though they don't realize it, they don't see or they can't communicate the value that they provide. I love personal development, and I've found resources that have helped me on my journey to overcome negative beliefs, and I'm excited to help others as well. So let's get started. Self-esteem is how we view ourselves, our own value, and our sense of worthiness. It's a critical component of our decision-making, risk-taking, and motivation. Those with lower self-esteem tend to believe they're not as worthy of things, such as achieving their personal goals, as other people. Those with higher self-esteem embody more resiliency to overcome obstacles because they are sure they are worth the desirable outcome. Think of one thing that you hold a lot of value in. Maybe it's gardening, for example. You'll make sure to put in the energy to keep your garden well watered and weeded. You may even put in extra effort into researching the plants you're growing to make sure they're in their best growing conditions. Well, that's similar to self-esteem, except that it's yourself that you care for rather than the garden. Healthy self-esteem or value in oneself breeds confidence. And confidence is defined as a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. So a lack of self-confidence keeps us from living our lives to the fullest. We become afraid to freely express ourselves, contribute our ideas, and even share our talents. There's a whole lot of other benefits to becoming more confident. We have more happiness, more enjoyment in life, less self-doubt, less limitations on our lives, freedom from fear and anxiety, even reduced stress. So, should we talk about how we make this happen? Well, first of all, we want to look at how do we talk to ourselves. Are you harsh and judgmental with yourself? Or are you supportive and loving to yourself? We all talk to ourselves, sometimes even out loud. I do it and don't even realize I'm doing it. My husband will be like in the next room and ask me what I'm saying and who I'm talking to. Well, I'm talking to myself, and I apparently do it out loud. Well, there are two distinguishable ways that we can talk to ourselves. The first one is instructional, like working through a task. You're telling yourself how to get each piece done. And the second is motivational, where you tell yourself, I can do this. And this motivational self-talk is closely related to our confidence levels and what we believe that we're capable of. The Faculty of Physical Education and Sports Sciences at the University of Tehran in Iran conducted a study of how motivational self-talk improved basketball abilities. Over 150 students were involved, and the results concluded that positive self-talk and a can-do attitude improved their speed and accuracy immensely versus the control group. Believing and telling yourself you are capable of a task, even a physical one, contributes to you excelling in it. Isn't that amazing? Now, what happens when you don't talk nicely to yourself? Talking negatively to yourself can have different outcomes, but they all have a common theme. It is not productive. Negative self-talk can be fueled by a number of things. And that negative self-talk can lead to irrational beliefs about yourself, a bad mood that doesn't get addressed, persistent pessimism, being overly critical of yourself, and fear and anxiety. These are all very real things that most of us experience. But the trick is to stop them in their tracks. If we do not reinforce our negative beliefs, they have no power over us. Now, you probably already have some ideas of negative self-talk, but if you don't know what negative self-talk would be, it's things like, I'm not worth it. There's no use. I can't do it. People won't like me. I am not enough. Others are better than me. My opinions don't matter. Nothing ever goes right. Or I must be perfect. Do not believe these things. They are wrong. Okay? So we don't want to say these things. Well, what should we say to ourselves? Our minds are powerful machines. The thoughts that we produce can translate into action. And that is how we truly achieve greatness. However, if we're filling our minds with negative comments about ourselves and our circumstances, we're creating boundaries for ourselves that we would otherwise not need to overcome. Think of your mind like a computer, right? If you program a computer incorrectly, it is not going to give you the output that you want, right? And it's not going to run smoothly or complete its task. Your mind is the same way. So instead of the negative self-talk, tell yourself these things instead. I can handle this. I'm making progress. I'm willing to try. I will eventually get it. I have many likable qualities. I do not need to compare myself to others. I am complete as I am. It's normal to feel this way. And you guys, I wish I had brought it upstairs with me, but last week on, one of those days, it was just a terrible, rough day. My daughter made me a homemade journal. She took some pages of construction paper and folded them in half, hole punched them, tied some yarn, and wrote on the cover, "You are amazing, just the way you are." Okay, and I want you to know you are amazing the way you are. Another great quote from John Lennon is, "Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end." So things like telling yourself, it will all be okay in the end, or I am just fine the way I am, those are affirmations, a form of self-talk that we can use to cultivate self-care, right? The whole purpose is to rewire your brain for a more confident and optimistic outlook. Now, a difference between self-talk and these affirmations is that affirmations should be performed out loud, right? You want to hear them. You want your ears and your brain to hear these things. Affirmations were developed by neuroscientists in the 1970s with the goal of redirecting thought patterns. Affirmations tend to be complete sentences addressing something specific. So try saying an affirmation every day. Maybe even look in the mirror when you do it. It is totally okay if it feels uncomfortable at first. I don't know if you all are, as old as me, but there was a Saturday Night Live sketch with daily affirmations. And I mean, it was hilarious, but at the same time, we need to do that. We need to tell ourselves, I love who I've become. I'm always growing and developing. My opinions resonate with who I am. I am whole and perfect the way I am. All right, so come up with your favorite affirmation and try for the next week to say it to yourself on a daily basis. All right, next we're going to talk about habit. Habit can either push you in the direction you want to go, or they can steer you off path away from them. Regardless of which direction your habits move you, they have power in the outcome, right? There are lots of books written about habit. One of them is called The Power of Habit, and I am not going to try to say this person's name because I'm going to butcher it. But it's a book about how our everyday habits affect the way we see ourselves and the likelihood of achieving our goals. And looking at habit as a tool is one way to help us uncover our true potential. They have also seen that when we develop habits around one central goal, other things will start happening, right? So if you are determined to develop a daily exercise routine, then it's very likely that you're going to start noticing that you choose to eat healthier foods. Maybe you wake up earlier, you utilize your time more efficiently. So whatever that desired keystone habit is, the idea is that you're working towards it, and it will create a ripple effect in changing other routines in your life. And the author of the book, The Power of Habit, says, if you believe you can change, if you make it a habit, the change becomes real. This is the real power of habit. You have to start with your belief. Now, another way to increase your belief is journaling, not only for creative purposes, but it also helps with our emotional health. If you keep a journal handy and you're feeling stuck on something, right? Whether that's an emotion that's bringing you down, an idea that you have maybe for building a business, or adding a line to a business that you already have. Maybe it's just something job related, right? You're content in the job that you have, but you're feeling stuck in some area. And you have that journal handy. You can journal it. You can write when you're stuck, but also you want to write in there when you have something to celebrate. All right, and both of these can help you to boost your self-confidence. When you write out that negative experience, it's a great way to get it out of your head, and it helps to open up your brain for more constructive solutions. Maintaining gratitude helps you to be in the position of recognizing all the good about yourself and your life on a day-to-day basis. Now, whether you write it in a physical notebook or an online platform, maybe you just type it in the notes section of your phone, right? You can start anytime as long as you have some sort of journal handy. So if you don't know where to start, maybe you're not a journaler, just some ideas of things and places for you to start. What are you grateful for? What do you want to feel tomorrow? How did you surprise yourself this week? What are you really good at? How would your best friend describe you? What makes you unique? Who appreciates you? What will you accomplish in the next 5 years? What is the best compliment you ever received? What emotions do you associate with confidence? And as I'm pondering these questions that we could use for journaling prompts, it just takes me back to when we were talking about interviewing and building your brand, right? These journaling prompts will really help you so that when you're in that situation of you need to give your elevator pitch to someone that you met at a conference, or you are heading into an interview, you have been working through these thoughts and you've already got a journal full of ideas and answers. Now, another one is visualizing your goals, values, passions, right? And a vision board is a great way that you can do that. You can motivate yourself, you can build gratitude, and you can express creativity, right? So you might not do all of those in the same vision board, but you're going to figure out which one are you going to focus on, and then what is it that you want your vision board to look like. Gather up your supplies and just start creating. Then put it in an area of your house that you're going to see it regularly. So one of my good friends, she's part of my safe bubble, right? She's been in my house since pandemic, and she could testify that my vision board, my current vision board, is on my refrigerator, right? We see it all the time. So I already have a plan for May. I'll talk about that at the end of this. But if you would like to have a virtual vision board party in June, pop it in the comments, pop it in the chat, and let me know, because I haven't nailed down topics beyond next month. So if you think you would like a vision board party, let me know and we can make that happen. Did you know that a strong support system is an important tool to have when things get rough, right? I mean, building your self-confidence is something that you're going to work on for a while. I am still working on it, right? But it's not a linear process. Linear means we go in a straight line, right? We're just going to build our self-confidence every day and never have a bad day. Well, guess what? That's not going to happen. We're going to have rough days, right? So we want to make sure that we have people that can support us, right? There is no substitute for having people you can trust, people that you can rely on to help you feel good, right? If you have supportive friends and family, I hope you do, by the way. If you have supportive friends and family, go to them, right? When you start hearing that negative self-talk popping up. If your family is not super supportive, find a friend who can be that person that lifts you up instead of dragging you back down into the depths. All right, so here's where my PowerPoint gets a little bit boring, but we're gonna dive in, and I totally forgot to put animations here so you can see all of it. We're gonna dive in to some practical steps to building a belief in yourself. Now, I heard this talk from Fraser Brooks, and it was geared toward network or affiliate marketing. So I've made some tweaks to his steps because I know I have a whole collection of people here, some that are content in their jobs, some that have a dream of building a business, some that maybe are already stepping out into it. So to build your belief, the first thing you need to do is be a product of the product. Now, what does that mean? Maybe you don't have a product, that's fine. If you do have a product, you should be using that product. You should have results related to that product. Maybe you have a service, right? So I'm a certified LEAP therapist. I have done the training. I literally did it because I wanted to fix myself, right? So if I had the time to work one-on-one with people, I'm a product of the product. I did the LEAP training, and then I did my blood test. I talked with a mentor dietitian, and I am not migraine free, right? I mean, I'm not perfect, but I have greatly reduced my migraines because of that. So if I were working with clients, I am a product of that product, right? I'm a product of my services. Same thing, like, I hope that you all see that I'm a product of this service, or I am working on myself, and I'm just a couple of steps ahead of some of you, and it's a continual thing for me too, but I do the things, right? I do the things. Step 2, this is my addition, daily personal development. I think personal development is so key to building a belief in yourself. Now, what can that look like? Maybe it's just 10 minutes a day. You allow yourself 10 minutes of time to read, or if you don't like to read, listen to audiobooks, whatever it is, some form of personal development. If you are completely lost and you do not know where to start on personal development, please send me a message, put it in the comments, whatever you need to do. I will be happy to guide you in some directions on what maybe would help you to start your personal development journey. Now, step 3 is regular contact with a mentor. So like I said, the person who gave this talk that I heard, he was doing it in a network marketing type of setting. And so he said daily communication with your active upline. Well, if you're out there and you're trying to start your own business, you may not have that person, right? But have some sort of regular contact with a mentor. So maybe you've got a mentor that you meet with weekly, but regular and not, once every 6 months. Step 4, attend some sort of monthly event. So maybe your monthly event of choice is attending my webinars. I love it when people are on live, and I know it's my fault for scheduling it on Easter. But I love being able to talk with people who attend the webinar on Zoom with me. If that's not it, then find some sort of other educational event that is beneficial to you and to what you are doing. Now, step 5, I'm looking at this again from the perspective of you're trying to grow a business, right? So step 5 is get a new customer every single month. When you start getting customers, you are going to have that belief that you are worthy, that your service or your product is worthy, right? And then step 6, hear leaders talk. So whether that is some dietitian that you love, right? And maybe you're going to FNCE, maybe you're going to the Food and Nutrition Conference, maybe it's this state affiliate, right? The Arizona Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics meeting is coming up in June, right? So maybe that's where you're going to go to hear leaders talk. It's virtual, by the way, you're not really going anywhere, but find something and hear leaders talk, engage with people that will help to grow your belief. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. Thank you so much for sharing some time with me. I love talking about ways that I can help people to build their own self-confidence, build their belief in themselves. Thank you for loving yourself enough to take time to watch and participate in this webinar. If you have any questions, please post them in the chat, post them in the comments section, private message me. If you are interested in growing in your personal development and maybe you want a little bit of accountability, I would love, I started reading, I'm like maybe halfway, a little over halfway through, I think, the book Girl Stop Apologizing. And I think it is a great place to start. I haven't read Girl Wash Your Face yet. And that's simply because Girl Stop Apologizing is free on Prime Reading. So if you're an Amazon Prime member, you can actually get a copy of that for free in Prime Reading right now, which is why I'm reading it. But I would love to do a book club if anyone is interested in that. Let me know that in the comments as well. For May, we are going to talk about streams of revenue. We're going to talk about linear, leveraged, residual income, why we need multiple forms of income. So that is the plan for May. If you're interested in a vision board party for June, please put that in the comments. And thank you so much. I appreciate you for being here. And I appreciate you tuning in to this webinar.